welcome back to my channel. Denise here. For today's video, I wanted to share my experience of my labor and delivery with my baby girl. In my last video, I gave you guys an update of me being pregnant, and little did I know I was gonna have my baby so much sooner. So I had my baby at 35 weeks, so she was born 5 weeks early. She was born at 5 pounds. And it's all so crazy to me now because her birthday is so, like, there's so many things that aligned. So she was born military time at 1441. With the hospital, they use military time, and it was 1441. The hospital she was born at, the address is 1441 Florida Avenue. I was like, whoa. She was born 5 weeks early at 5 pounds. She was born 18 inches on the 18th. Her original due date was February 22nd. Yeah, I just wanted to give my experience, and if anybody ever experienced anything like I did, just know you're not alone. I never knew or have known of anybody that had a baby born so early and had to stay in NICU or anything like that. So I was very clueless. I was very sad. It's definitely hard, but it is so worth it. Be sure that you have a healthy baby whenever she does come home. So yeah, let's just jump right into it from the very beginning. It was a Sunday, and I was already at that point of my pregnancy where I was so uncomfortable. So sleeping was a pain in the butt. I felt like I needed to sleep sitting up because so sleeping on my left or right side was so painful. My baby was hitting my ribs. I remember going to sleep, and then out of nowhere at 1 in the morning, I wake up to go bathroom. It was so routine for me because as a pregnant person, you go to the bathroom probably like every hour or two, and nothing of it. I just went to go pee, and then I went to go lay down, and I felt kind of like a cramp in my belly. So I was like, okay, like let me switch positions. So I like moved to the other side, and the minute I moved to the other side, I just felt water like gushing out of me, and I was like, did I just pee myself? Like, what the heck? So I get up, and gravity, and I'm just like, oh shit. So I go to the restroom, and TMI, but I go to wipe, and that napkin didn't do anything. I'm still just like wet. So my whole pants are just like wet at this point. I'm like, whatever. So I go to my sister's room, and I wake her up, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm like really wet, and like I go to wipe myself, and I can't, it doesn't go away. It's just so wet. And she goes, okay, let's just go to the hospital, at least for peace of mind, you know. We both were kind of like doubted, you know. And then so went to the hospital. Sure enough, your water broke, she's coming. And I was like, oh no, but it's early. And they're like, yeah, no worries, like Nikki will be here to make sure like she's fine. And I was just like, oh shit, like this is real. They checked me, I was 1 centimeter dilated, so it was like nothing. So they were just kind of have to just play the waiting game. But you can't go home because your water broke, so that means she's coming. And I was like, okay, cool. So we kind of just played the waiting game, and my sister was with me. So because my sister was that person that showed up to the hospital with me, she was my only support person. So my boyfriend couldn't come. My mom couldn't come because of COVID, so you can only have one person in that room with you, and that was her. I'm so glad it was her. And by the way, my mom was in Vegas, so there's no way she was gonna make it, and my boyfriend actually lives in a different state, so he had to book a flight literally like that day to get to me. And even if we tried, he was not gonna make it in time. So I was like, I told both of them, my mom and my boyfriend, like, don't worry, don't stress out, just get here, but don't stress out about getting here because you can't even come into the hospital. So yeah, they kept checking me like how many centimeters I was dilated. So I was super like, I am not getting epidural. Going all natural. Heck no. So it was probably like 10 a.m. at this point, and I started to feel pain. I started to feel those contractions, and yeah, so at 10 a.m. they checked me, and I want to say I was like 5 centimeters dilated, and I was like, I'm in a lot of pain. So if I describe the pain, it felt like somebody, I mean, I've never got stabbed, but I felt like somebody was stabbing my back. And by this time, I had thrown up 6 times already of the pain. That's how much pain I was in. I just kept throwing up. I had told my sister, like, please go home, get me clothes, get stuff ready, you know. I told her, please go give me a toothbrush. Like, I want to brush my teeth so bad. And I've thrown up 6 times. Like, I felt disgusting. So I finally just said it, and I was like, please give me epidural. I can't. This is so painful. No, I wasn't crying, but I was more frustrated. I was in a very frustrated state of mind. I felt that pain so strong, and I'm a person that can tolerate pain. Okay, that's why I was like, oh, I'm totally not doing epidural. I can tolerate pain, but this pain was so bad. And you know, everybody tells you, believe them. I just was like, no way, like, I can't do this. I had already thrown up of how much pain I was in. I was like, give me the freaking epidural. I was so frustrated though. Like, I wanted to rip apart the room. I couldn't cry. Like, for some reason I did not cry of the pain. It was more of like anger. Like, I was frustrated. Nurse, she's like, okay, well, the anesthesiologist that's gonna put your epidural in is in surgery. Like, we're gonna have to wait like 30 minutes. And I was like, are you serious? I was just like, okay, it's just 30 minutes to me. Just 30 minutes, and then you'll be fine. You won't feel anything. And then 30 minutes go by and nothing. I was like, where is this guy? And they're like, I'm sorry, like, he's still not coming. They're like, you know what? We're just gonna get like our backup. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. Just give me the epidural. Like, I don't care who it is. And so this guy took like another 30 minutes to get there. And then he finally came. And then I remember seeing him setting up, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna get the freaking epidural because it's so painful. And so she put my head to her chest, and so like I'm like leaned over, and he's behind me, and he like puts the needle or whatever it is, I couldn't see obviously, and he puts the epidural in me. And right when he's putting the freaking epidural in me, I got 2 contractions back to back, painful as F. I had to talk to myself in my head, and I was like, Denise, please don't move, please don't move, please don't move. I've heard horror stories. Didn't move, thankfully. And then sure enough, like 10 minutes go by, and I'm like, I feel no pain. And that was definitely everything. And then I don't even know when or what happens, but I fell asleep. And the minute I woke up, I was like trying to swallow saliva. Like, I feel like I had a lot of saliva in my mouth, so I'm trying to swallow it, and I couldn't. And I'm like, and I couldn't. And the nurse and my sister like come to me, and they're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm like, I couldn't even talk. So the epidural went up, like my whole body was numb, not just my waist down, my whole body was numb. And low-key started freaking out because they started freaking out. They're like, oh, get the anesthesiologist, like, go grab him, blah, 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 like, call him. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I realized that my hands can't move. I'm like trying to lift them, and they don't move. I couldn't even talk. I couldn't breathe, almost felt like. I was just, oh my God. My sister started freaking out. They're like, they told her like to sit down. They're like, just sit down, we got this. And then I was just like, oh my God, what's going on? And then so pretty much I only had the epidural for like 30 minutes, and they had called him in, and I was so out of it, but my sister had told me that they were kind of playing the like blaming game. Like, they were like irritated with each other, and he came in and he was just like, well, why was she laying down? Like, she wasn't supposed to be laying down. And the nurse was like, you put too much. And so they told him like, take it out of her, you know. So they took it out of me. After a couple, like, I don't know if it was like an hour, what happened, like, I finally like went down. I was able to talk, I was able to swallow, and then I just remember my hands were like this. Like, it was slowly going away, but like I was like, oh my God, I can't move my hand. Like, I can't control my hands. Like, I would try to lift them, and like they moved super weird. Oh my God, this is so scary. And yeah, so thankfully everything was fine after they took off the epidural. So it was slowly like going away, and then it got to like my stomach probably, and I was able to move my hands, and then she checked me and I was 10 centimeters dilated, so obviously that's wide enough. So it was time, you know, she can come any moment. And then her telling me like, okay, if at any moment you feel the urge to just push, let us know. And I was like, okay, cool. So then I really couldn't, like at this point I can feel my contractions, but not like, it was like mild. At this point it's already probably like 1 p.m. and and then I remember I told them, I called and I was like, hey, I like feel the urge to push. And they're like, okay, cool. So they came in and it was time to push, but I was still pretty numb, like not crazy numb, but like they told me to like open my legs and like keep them like that, and my legs would like fall. Like I still didn't really have control of my legs. So then the nurse was like, okay, I'm gonna hold one leg, and she told my sister, you hold the other leg. And then so they would tell me like, okay, so we need you to push as if you need to poop. And I was like, okay, only when like once you feel that contraction, like push. And I was like, okay. So I would do it, and my sister was like, Denise, like they were like, push, like you need to poop. Like I think what I was doing was I was, you know, when you do like ab workouts and maybe you're not doing them right, and you put all that like force on your neck and your head versus your abs. That's what I was doing. My sister was like, dude, your face was so red and your lips turn like purple. And I was like, shut up. So pretty much they tell you to breathe in and push at the same time. The minute you breathe out, your body relaxes, so you're not pushing. So I felt like I was running out of breath. I was like I need to breathe. And so I kept doing that, and then finally the doctor came in, and he was so funny. He was so nonchalant about everything. Like homeboy was like, been here, done that, like what's for lunch, ladies? And I'm like just there wide open. Like I was just like, okay. It was pretty funny. And then yeah, so I think I just kept pushing, and I was sweating. Like they got me a towel because I just kept trying, and I was like, I want this baby out already. I even feel like the doctor kind of felt kind of like, ugh, can we like speed this up already? Because okay, this is me, and he would grab his fingers. Like I couldn't feel him, but I could feel what he's doing, but I didn't feel like the pain or whatever. He would do this. So this is me, right? He put his 2 fingers and would do this. I was like, sir, what are you doing? But I mean, maybe that's what they do. But I was just kind of like, oh hell no. I think he's like over it and wants his baby to come out also, and it's like trying to like open me up a little bit more. Oh hell no. But anyways, so then I kept pushing, and then like my sister would be like, oh my god, her head, I see her head. And then like I would like have to like release, and she would go back in, and then I was like, you know what, Denise, you need to just freaking push. I was like, okay. So I would really like push and like did it, and then she finally came out. Not even half her body was out, and she was already crying. It was so funny. I just remember looking at my sister because I couldn't really see myself. I was kind of like laying down, and I see my sister's face, and she goes like, oh my god, she's coming, she's here. Like it was the cutest thing ever because she was just so happy. She was crying, but like in such a happy way. So she was finally born, and I remember NICU coming in, the nurses from NICU, and they were like, okay, well, they're just gonna check her, and then we'll give you the baby back if everything's fine. So then they checked her, they weighed her. She was 5 pounds, 18 inches, and they gave her back to me. Like they put her chest to chest, and I was like, yes, my healthy, beautiful baby. And then I kind of rested a little bit. They all left, and then they finally moved me up to postpartum. So they moved me rooms. So it's now just recovery time, and they took the baby for testing. And then I was like, okay, cool. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna rest a little bit. And then they had came back probably like an hour later, and they're like, we actually have to keep the baby in NICU. We can't give her back to you. And I was like, well, why not? And they're like, she's actually having a little bit of trouble breathing. so we need to put her in oxygen. Oh my god, I started bawling my eyes out, just bawling my eyes out. I was like, why? Like, this is why I didn't want to have my baby early, because, you know, 5 weeks, she still needs to develop in those 5 weeks. And I know that, I think the lungs is the last thing that gets developed. So I was just like crying. I was like, I don't want to see my baby in like these machines. I don't want to see my baby like just like that. So I just started crying, and then I rested. My sister's like, dude, you really need to sleep. I know you're worried about the baby, but just like sleep. Once I slept, felt better, I went down to NICU to visit the baby, and I'll post a picture. Oh, I was so freaking just, I did not like seeing her like that. And I hung out with her for as much as I could. And then I finally just went back up and fell asleep. And then it was the next day. They told me, like, you can visit the baby 24 hours a day. Like, we're here 24 hours a day. Sleep anytime you want. Come visit her. So I would literally eat, rest, and then go visit her and just stay down there and just be with her for as long as I could. Okay. Almost. Baby feels so good. And then I remember going, and she was off the oxygen. I was like, oh my god. And then they were like, yeah, she actually was only on oxygen for 12 hours. She can breathe on her own. They were like, okay, but like she still can't go home with you because she has jaundice, which is like her skin color is like an orange color. And I'll post pictures. I'm like my little Trump. Her skin color was just not normal, and so they had to put her in UV lights for 2 days. So I was like, okay. So the next day I had to leave the hospital, like I had to be released. So my boyfriend picked me up, we went home, and we were sleeping, and then I was like, I'm gonna go see the baby. So me and him would go see the baby every single day, every 3 hours. So I would pump, and then we would go to the hospital, feed her, hang out with her, come home, pump again, go back. It was just all day. We just wanted to be with her. And yeah, so she was under the UV lights for 2 days, and then she had to regulate her temperature. So they had her in like a heated bed. As soon as she can regulate her own temperature, you know, she can maybe go home. And I was like, okay. So yeah, so she was in NICU for 6 days. And it was so devastating because I couldn't take my baby home. But then at the same time, I feel like it's a blessing in disguise because they taught us so much. It really taught us a lot. So like everything happens for a reason. So I would have let her be in NICU and they make sure that she's healthy, then take her home, and like something happens here and I don't know what to do, you know. So I was like thankful that those nurses were amazing. The doctor was amazing to just take care of her, and thankfully she's healthy, she's perfect. And I got to take her home on my birthday. The doctor was like, let me do you a solid, and here's your gift. You can take your baby home. And I was like, oh my god. Are you ready to go home?
Say happy birthday to mommy.
Happy birthday, mommy.
What's going on right now, mommy?
We're taking my baby home. So yeah, that was definitely really hard to see and to go through. So I learned a lot in those 6 days that she was in NICU. Like I said, the nurses were amazing, and I'm just really grateful for my boyfriend because honestly he was just such an amazing support system. So we finally get to take our baby home, and she is healthy, she's beautiful, she's growing. It's like crazy to see. She's already gonna be a month, and she's not even at her due date yet, which is mind-blowing. Like, she's such a strong baby. Like, I definitely feel super blessed. But yeah, guys, that is my experience with delivering my baby. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to share more of her in my next videos. And yeah, if you ever have experienced anything like this, or if you ever do experience anything like this, just know you are not alone. Anyways, yeah guys, thank you guys so much for listening to my story time. And if you have any additional questions, please leave them down below. And like I said, I can't wait to share more of my little princess in my next videos. So I will see you guys next time.